Hey everybody, Sean here from boardparacord.com, and recently I've been getting a ton of emails asking me about the Mad Max bracelet and how to make it. So I actually saw it in the movie. When I saw it in the theater, I pointed it out and I was like, hey, that's a paracord bracelet. So I went home and we looked it up, and it's basically just a cobra, and I kind of thought that when I was watching the movie. But there's a few differences between the cobra that you're used to with a buckle and this one that uses no buckle, and it's kind of a tricky little way to do the closure, but I think I figured it out, came up with a couple little tricks that should be able to work and look just like what he's wearing in the movie. So what I have here is, I know it looks black, but it's actually OD green, so it's got the kind of Mad Max feel to it. Now, the first thing you want to do is, I've got about 10.5 feet, 11 feet, somewhere in there of this. And we're not using a buckle, so you just need the cord. Put the two ends together, and then run this through your finger. And what this does is this will help us find our center point, which I already had. But it's right here. Now, this center point, from the center point to wherever you measure your wrist, this is going to be the length of your bracelet. So one way that you can do this is just take your center point and wrap it around your wrist, just like that, and then kind of mark where the center point goes to, which is right here. So that gives me my length of my bracelet. Now, you could also take about a 1/2 inch off of this, because you want the strands, basically the way he wears it, he has the strands are kind of gap. They open up and contract so that you can adjust the bracelet, slide it off your wrist. So if you want to take the measurement of your wrist and then back it up, I would say about 1 inch, that would give you the spacing you need to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go back 1 inch, which is about right here, and then I'm going to fold this over. So we act like our buckle is right here. So it's basically the same thing. You're going to have one cord coming off to the left and one cord coming off to the right. And you don't want to lose that mark that you folded these over at. But I do want to show you how this is set up. So it's set up just like this, real easy. So you've got the length of your bracelet is this middle part here, and then you've got your working ends here. And you're going to do this just as if you had a buckle on here. It's not too difficult. So you're going to take your left cord over the center, and you want to try and hold on to everything while you do this. So you're going to have a loop on the left, and then you take your right cord, cross it over your left, go around the back, and up through that loop without losing your mark there. So the mark is the top point of this loop. So this one's already pretty much closed, so all you gotta do is pull this one, and then you want to just kind of pull this tight. It ends up being sort of like a stopper knot. You don't want it too tight, because what we got to do at the very end, we got to run our fids through these loops, because this is where the cord comes through, and that's how you adjust your bracelet. So once you get that done, you're just going to do your Solomon all the way down, and there's a little trick at the bottom so it doesn't slide off the end. So we'll just do this real quick. So you're going to take the cord that went over the middle last time, and then comes out to the right. That cord's always going to go over the middle. Every single time you pass that same cord, in this case it's the right, next time it'll be the left, because it switches sides each time. So that's the right side, left side crosses over, around the back, and through that loop on the left, and pull her tight. Now that cord, let me zoom in on this so you can see. The cord that went over the middle, you can see it comes out the left side. That one's just going to come right back over the middle again. You're going to cross your right cord over that left one, go behind the back, and up through that loop on the left. And you just continue this the whole way down. It's pretty easy. If you've got a jig, Well, I don't know if you could do this on a jig. I'd have to think about that, but let's see. I guess one way you could do it is to run an extra little loop of paracord through these top two loops, and then hook that loop into your hooks. And then this one down here, this one can hook to the other hook on the other end of the jig. That would only work though if you're using Mr. Coop's jig. Very good jig, by the way. Otherwise, I don't think you would be able to use a jig. I also, on Mr. Coop's, he's got these little nails. If you get the big jig, he's got some little nails that come with it. You could slide one of the nails through this loop, and then there's holes on the jig that the nail goes into on one end, and then there's nails on the other end. You could put it through this loop. That would work too. But yeah, that would definitely work for you. And now you want this to be, well, those first couple passes weren't very tight, but you want this bracelet to be pretty tight because you don't want it to slide off. You don't want it to get too loose to where it slides off the end there. But yeah, this is pretty cool. When I was watching the movie, I was with my fiance, and I didn't even mean to do it, but I turned to her and I was like, "Hey, that's a paracord bracelet," and she just kind of laughed, and we went on watching the movie. And then when I got home, we were looking up a bunch of pictures to see exactly what kind of bracelet it was. I know there was some confusion maybe on the Paracord On group. A lot of people were saying that it was the Cobra belly bar, which in the movie, I don't know if he's using like a different style of cord. I'm not convinced that it's paracord. It looks like paracord, but a little bit thicker, so it could be the thicker stuff. I'm still not convinced though that it is. He has his own line of bracelets, so it's hard to say what kind of cord he's using for those. You can find them on Google, I think, if you just type in Tom Hardy bracelet, and then you can click on images, and there's quite a few up close pictures of the bracelet in the movie if you do that. But it'll also show you he's got a full line of bracelets, but you got to kind of search for it because it's not a real popular site. But yeah, that's what, looking at those pictures, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely a Cobra or Solomon, either one. He's got a little bit lighter, and it might be a mixture between, well, the color that he has is a solid color, but I think it's a little bit lighter than OD green and a little darker than moss green. And it's not something that I carry right now, and I'm not even sure that I have a supplier that manufactures that color, but if there's demand for it, I can definitely have it made. So either way, I'm gonna do a little research on that, but I think I'll be able to figure it out. So to end this bracelet, there's a knot called the clasp hands, and it's kind of a stopper knot, and it's kind of a decorative sort of knot also, but it'll be the first time that I do this type of knot on a bracelet. Okay, so I'm gonna back this out just a little bit, just so I don't move out of frame. I'm sure I probably did a couple times there. Okay, so as we get down to the bottom, you just want to keep in mind that you need a small loop at the end. So you want to do your Solomon or your Cobra all the way to the end until like if you were to do one more, it would be covering that loop. So we want to make sure that there's a little loop showing before we do our last one, because what we have to do is run one of these cords through that loop so that the whole bracelet doesn't slide off the end. Because what you literally could do is hold this end and pull down, and these end loops here would fall right off the end, and we don't want that. So I think I can do one more. Yeah, I can do one more, and then I might have to use a fid, or I've got some needle nose pliers over here I can use. Might be easier than hooking up a fid for one pass. And I want my top one. So basically what you want is the one that you've been running across the top. instead of it running all the way across the top, you want it to go down through that loop and off to the left. And that just kind of stops everything from falling off the end. So I want it to go down, so I'm going to run these up through. Actually, that's not going to work too well. Those needle nose pliers, I was trying to pry on something and I bent the end of it, so that's not going to work too well. But I do have somewhere around here. Yep, here they are. I got a set of fids, so I got to make an adjustment, I think, on this. Just cut some of that plastic off of there, and then I can use the fid to go down through that loop. And this is one of those tricks that I was talking about. There's a few tricks on this bracelet that you need to know so that it stays together. So we're just going to take our right cord, the one that went over the middle, and we're just going to go down through that loop, just like that. Make sure you keep that loop just as if you were doing this regular. And then the right cord is going to cross just like it has before, go behind and up through the loop on the right. You could, actually you might have to, let's see. Yeah, you're going to have to. Okay, so the right cord goes down, the left cord's going to have to go up through. I haven't made this bracelet yet, so this is kind of a trial and error part. I did it all in my head, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll work. And then, as you can see, as I work through this, there's a little bit of modifying. I wasn't expecting to do this cord going through from the other side. There we go. Okay, so the right cord went down, the left cord has to go up through that loop on the end. And then underneath and through the loop on the right. And that should, oh, and this one has to go through the loop on the left. Okay, there we go. Now that should give me kind of like a type of stopper. And what you're going to do here is make sure that's nice and tight, because you don't want this to come undone. So just pull that nice and tight, and that should give you a nice tight knot right there. Okay, now we already have a fit on the right side, so you also want to do a fit on the left, because now what we have to do is go through the loops at the other end. And then after we do that, all we have to do at that point is do the stopper knot. We'll be finished. Okay, so this is the left side cord, so we're going to go through this left loop on the right, or on the left, the left loop on the right. Anyways, no, we go through the left loop, which is this very first loop. This is where we did our measurement to. That's going to go through there, and this is what's going to give us our adjustability. So if you want it smaller, you just do that. And depending on how tight you pulled this at the very beginning is going to determine how tight it is or how hard it is, because as you can see, this isn't very tight. That's a pretty small bracelet, but that's okay because we can open this up. Alright, sorry about that. I thought I heard somebody knocking at the door. I'm at the store here on a Sunday. I don't have the store open on, today. Thought I heard somebody knocking on the window. Okay. Anyways, the right cord now is going to go through this right loop. And what I want to do is get these fids off. I'm going to back this up just a little bit here again. And get these fids off of here and do the stopper knot. And once the stopper knot's done, then we just have to cut the ends and singe them. Okay, so let's see here. How can I do this? Okay, so basically I have the bracelet fully, or as small as it can go, and I think I want to be able to open it up to about here. So I want my stopper knot to be right about here. That way it doesn't, obviously if you put your stopper knot further down, then your bracelet's going to be all the way, I mean it's just going to have too much hanging off the end. what I want to check out though, is I want to put this on my wrist and tighten this down. So it looks like my stopper knot really has to be about 2.5 inches. So you just want to kind of test this on your own wrist and figure out where that stopper has to go. Open this up and get this off of here. So it looked like my stopper had to be about right there. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to measure this. So we're at 2.5 inches. That's where my stopper knot has to be. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so this is a real easy knot to do. I looked at a few different knots, and this one seems to be a pretty nice looking knot, even when it's done. So what you want to do is kind of like we did at the beginning. You have a loop coming off to the right and a loop coming off to the left. Now, the right loop is going to go over the top and off to the left, and the left is going to go underneath, so we'll put that underneath, and off to the right. So you should have something that looks just like that. Real easy. So this one's over top, this one's underneath. Now the left cord, since it's on the top, it's going to go behind and up through this loop. The right cord is going to go over top and down. So right goes over and down, left goes under and up. That's the knot. All you have to do from that point is tighten it. So it looks like that. The left one, we just have to lift everything up, running under everything, and then over through this side. I know it looks very complicated, but this is one of the easiest ones out there. And from this point, all we do, this looks like a mess, doesn't it? All we do now is tighten this up, and that just means that we just pull these tight. That sounded like a Madden saying. All we have to do to tighten this up is pull everything tight. Yeah, that definitely sounds like John Madden. Okay, let me get this going. And as you can see, well, we got a little bit extra. We have a little bit more on this one, so all we need to do is take the slack through these loops, make them even, and work all that slack through, and there we go. So that slack came that way, and you want to cinch this up towards your working ends, just like that. There we go. Now I think I got my stopper knot way too far out here. So you can, what you have to do is loosen this a little bit, but you can push all this and kind of work it through the knot to move this knot down. And you might even have to do that a few times before you get it right to where you want it. So don't cut and singe these right away. Make sure you put it on your wrist and kind of test where that knot has to go. But as you can see, it's kind of got a little bit of decorative flair to it. You just want to make sure that you kind of push it this way, and what that does, that just keeps it from, going back through these loops on the end. Alright, so once you get to this point, we're just going to cut these ends off and singe them just as if we were doing a regular Solomon or any other bracelet. So we got that one cut. And I think my lighter is turned way down. That's okay though. Gotta find my smoothing tool. There it is. Okay. Get that rounded over. Very nice. And we'll cut this one. I hope this video isn't too long. I feel like I've been talking the whole time, which I pretty much have been. And we'll get this one melted. And there we go. Got a couple stragglies on that. But that's pretty much it. That is pretty much how you make the Mad Max bracelet. Just the couple little tricks that I kind of worked into this. I wasn't sure how it would go. The loops on the end, make sure those are nice and tight because you want it to be able to hold its shape when it's on your wrist. So you have the loops on the end. Another trick at this end is one goes down through that loop at the end, one comes up, and then the other trick is this stopper knot. And other than that, that's it. Thanks for watching. I know I've got a lot of people waiting on this video, so I'm going to go upload it right now. And if you want to see anybody else's work and share your stuff, head on over to the Facebook page, Paracordon. That's where I'm at. And over 10,000 people. I think we're even close to 12 or 13,000 people are in there now. Check it out, facebook.com/groups/Paracordon. And I will see you next time. So until next time, Paracordon.